What if I told you that your personal brand, the one you've poured so much effort into building, is already obsolete? By 2026, perfection is your worst enemy. What made you visible yesterday will make you invisible tomorrow. Stay with me and find out why. Let me tell you a story, inspired by real events. This is Leo's story. In the early 2020s, Leo was the gold standard. He had mastered the playbook. His personal brand was a textbook example: impeccable visuals, a clear message, a consistent presence. But by 2026, Leo hit a wall. Silence. His methods no longer worked. He had become a digital ghost. Leo's story is the story of a forced transformation. It's the discovery of the 7 new laws of personal branding, the ones that separate those who will be heard from those who will shout into the void. In the next few minutes, we're going to deconstruct these 7 strategies together. No vague theories, but concrete rules, illustrated by Leo's journey, so you don't suffer the same fate. Part 1: The Era of Radical Authenticity. Leo had spent years polishing his image. Every photo was perfect, every text was proofread 10 times. He showcased success, never the struggle. By 2026, this had become his biggest liability. The overstimulated public developed a sixth sense for detecting fakery. The first law he had to learn the hard way is this: vulnerability is the new credibility. I'm not talking about complaining. I'm talking about showing the process, the doubts, the failures. Leo saw a young artist, let's call her Clara, skyrocket in popularity. Her strategy? She didn't post her finished paintings. She posted videos of her mishaps, the canvas she angrily tossed aside, the sketch she couldn't finish. And that's what created an indestructible human connection. People weren't following her art, they were following her struggle. By 2026, perfection is a lie no one is buying anymore. The public no longer wants to see the mountaintop, they want to see the blood, sweat, and tears of the climb. Your story isn't in your successes, it's in your scars. This is the first step. But it's only the beginning, because being authentic isn't enough if your identity is rigid. Part 2: The Liquid Personal Brand. Leo's mantra was, find your niche and stick to it. He was the expert in X, full stop. But by 2026, people are no longer just one thing. They are multi-passionate, multi-talented. To pigeonhole yourself is to amputate a part of who you are. The second law, therefore, is fluidity. Your personal brand must be liquid, capable of taking the shape of your evolving passions. Leo discovered the profile of a certain Marque. Marque was a developer, but also passionate about vegan cooking and a drummer in a rock band. Instead of creating 3 separate profiles, he unified everything under a single banner: rhythm and code, cooking, and music. His audience wasn't composed of developers, vegans, or musicians. It was an audience of creatives, curious individuals, people who, like him, refused labels. Your niche is no longer a job or a passion. Your niche is you. It's the invisible thread that connects all your facets, even those that seem contradictory. Stop asking yourself who is my audience, and ask yourself who am I, in all my complexity? The answer is your brand. And this is where it gets even more subtle, because it's no longer just about what you say, but how and where you say it. Part 3: The Ephemeral and Immersive Narrative. Leo was a fan of evergreen content, content that lasts. Blog posts, well-produced videos. The problem was, everyone was doing that. His content was drowning in an ocean of permanent information. The third law of 2026 is the urgency of the ephemeral. Value is no longer found in what's always available, but in the unique experience, the one you can't miss. The future isn't in recorded content, it's in live, interactive, immersive experiences. Think of creators who organize augmented reality Q&A sessions, where their avatar chats with those in their community. Think of coaches who give their best advice only during surprise, unrecorded live sessions. Leo understood this by watching a trainer create wild anticipation around her secret lives. She created a can't-miss event, an exclusive club where you had to be there, at the right moment. This creates scarcity, engagement, and a sense of belonging 1,000 times stronger than a simple like. Your permanent content is your business card. Your ephemeral and immersive content is the conversation that builds the relationship. But how do you manage this complexity at scale? Part 4. Hyperpersonalization through artificial intelligence. The answer lies in technology. Leo addressed his community as an undifferentiated mass. He sent the same messages, the same content to everyone. Big mistake. The fourth law is hyperpersonalization. By 2026, thanks to artificial intelligence, mass communication is an insult. The public expects you to speak to them, and them alone. This isn't science fiction. Tools already exist to analyze a follower's comments and interactions to understand their specific needs. Imagine an author who uses AI to send her 100 most loyal readers a personalized short story, where the hero bears their first name and faces a dilemma they mentioned in a comment. This is what Leo saw happening. The bond created is indestructible. We are no longer moving from one-to-many communication to one-to-one communication, but at the scale of thousands. Your personal brand should no longer be a megaphone, but an ultra-personalized concierge service. Every follower should feel as if they were the only one. And here's the most important thing. This personalization must be based on proof, not just words. Part 5. Proof through decentralized action. Formerly, Leo's credibility rested on testimonials he displayed on his own website, the figures he highlighted. He controlled the proof of his value. By 2026, this approach is suspect. Trust has shifted. The fifth law is proof through action, verifiable and decentralized. Your reputation is no longer built on what you say about yourself, but on what you do, transparently and often outside your own ecosystem. Think of developers whose personal brand is their portfolio of contributions to open-source projects on platforms like GitHub. Think of experts whose skills are certified and recorded on a blockchain, unforgeable. Leo saw a strategy consultant become an authority not by publishing articles, but by actively participating in the governance of a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO. His votes, his proposals, his actions were public and spoke for themselves. Your personal branding no longer lives on your profiles. It lives on the blockchain, in the public records of your actions, in the concrete value you bring to collaborative projects. Your reputation precedes you, and it's beyond your control. It's terrifying, but it's also the pinnacle of meritocracy. And this brings us to a completely counterintuitive strategy. Part 6. Strategic silence. Leo was obsessed with consistency. Posting every day. Being everywhere, all the time. He thought if he stopped, he'd be forgotten. He ended up creating noise, not value. The sixth law is perhaps the hardest to accept. Silence is a weapon. In a content-saturated world, power belongs to those who know when to be silent. It's not about laziness, but about strategy. It's the art of scarcity. Imagine this, disappearing for weeks, creating a void, an anticipation. Then returning, not with a post, but with a masterpiece, an idea, a revolution. Your silence becomes more powerful than the noise of others. Leo was struck by a modern philosopher who published only one long dissertation every 6 months. In between, radio silence. But each publication was an event. The anticipation was immense. He didn't fight for daily attention, he commanded it twice a year. Strategic silence allows you to focus, to create in depth. It signals that when you speak, you have something important to say. Stop feeding the algorithm and start feeding minds. And this philosophy leads directly to the final paradigm shift, the biggest of all. Part 7. The community is the brand. Leo's vision was simple. I am the brand, and you are my audience. It was a top-down model, from expert to disciples. By 2026, that model is dead. The seventh and final law is this: you are not the brand. Your community is the brand. Your role is no longer to be an idol on a pedestal, but a facilitator, an ecosystem architect. The goal is not for people to admire you, but for them to connect with each other through you. The ultimate personal branding is not centered on me, but on we. Leo observed a gardening content creator. She didn't just give advice. She created a platform where members of her community shared their own tips, exchanged seeds, and organized local meetups. Her greatest pride wasn't her own tomatoes, but the friendships and projects born within her group. She was no longer an influencer, she was the guardian of a movement. Your success is no longer measured by the number of your followers, but by the strength of the connections among your followers. The question to ask is no longer how can I provide them value, but how can I help them provide value to one another? This is the ultimate shift, moving from personal brand to community brand. To conclude, Leo's journey is all of our journeys. The rules have changed. Let's recap these 7 new laws for 2026. 1. Radical authenticity: show your scars, not just your trophies. 2. The liquid brand: embrace your complexity, refuse labels. 3. The ephemeral narrative: create unique, unmissable experiences. 4. Hyper-personalization: speak to each person as if they were the only one. 5. Proof through decentralized action: let your verifiable actions speak for you. 6. Strategic silence: your absence can have more impact than your presence. And 7. The community is the brand: stop being the hero, become the guide. Tomorrow's personal branding is not a race for visibility, it's a quest for connection, depth, and real impact. It's less facade and more soul. The question isn't whether you're ready for 2026. The question is, will you start this transformation today? Follow us for your dose of business motivation. Don't forget to subscribe.